Okay, so today I'm going to discuss my educational issue, and that issue is English as a second language students in the American English classroom, or they could also be referred to as English language learners. I think that this is a pretty big issue right now in American education, and we haven't really found the best way in which to deal with these students and to help teach them effectively. First of all, why is this an issue? I think for obvious reasons. The United States is a country that many people feel is the dream world, and they want to come and harvest the land of dreams. So we have many immigrants coming from South America and all over the world, but mostly South America right now, and we have a large influx of Spanish-speaking students into our American English public education classrooms. And we do not have effective ways in which to help deal with that. Um, and we won't, because immigration will continue to happen in the foreseeable future, and people will always want to come to America, hopefully. Um, as of right now, though, it seems as if the trend will continue, so we have to find a more efficient way to deal with it. The second question is, why is this a problem? I don't think that it's truly a problem. I think the problem is, how do we deal with it? The problem isn't the students coming to America and expecting to be schooled, but more importantly, the problem is among the teachers and how we best educate these students. I think that there's a problem because we expect them to know English so quickly upon entrance into the United States and American schools. Um, but also because their families don't speak English, and they're coming here with a family that speaks probably predominantly Spanish or another language, and they're just thrown into this English classroom. So, yes, they get 6 hours a day of English instruction, but they do not have any more instruction um, at home. So it continues to be a problem if we don't deal with it in the correct way in the school. We can't teach them their second language effectively. Um, the third question is, how do others feel about this? And I think that there are many mixed feelings and beliefs about the issue of English students or English as a second language students and English language learners in general. I think depending on where you go in our country, you're going to find two views about this issue on each end of the spectrum. If you're in a closed-minded state like West Virginia, you're going to find people that really disagree with students coming into our classrooms and needing the extra treatment. Um, we, as a state, generally seem to be pretty closed-minded and think, well, as soon as you come to America, you need to learn English and be able to speak and hold yourself in an acceptable manner in our language. However, like I said, that's very closed-minded, and it's not possible to just drop yourself into a country and immediately become fluent in that language, especially if you have no other family members or no other sources in which to speak English with. So, in a community or an area where Spanish speakers are more prevalent, I would assume that the idea is not so closed-minded, and it's more kind of open-minded, thinking that we need to include these people into society and prevent this closing off of them from our schools. Um, and obviously, many people see a problem in the way in which we're educating these students. They're not doing well on tests. Our teachers just have no idea how to handle it, and basically, it's just a big problem. And more open-minded areas see the need for treatment rather than just immediately learning English, because that's not very realistic. Um, what can be done to help fix the problem? I've seen several little ways to fix this problem, but I think my favorite would be the Massachusetts Retail Program proposal. The Retail Program is for teacher education, and it says that teachers will be educated by the year 2014, I believe, for English as a second language students, um, so that they can teach them and at least get them up to proficiency level in English language. Massachusetts is kind of the leader in all educational developments, and um, I'm not surprised that they are the first state to come up with a really great program for English as a second language students. But I think that their idea is that the teachers need to be educated first, much more than the students, because the students are already trying to learn as much as they can our teachers just need to learn as well. Other than that, there aren't many programs that I see that deal with it other than removal from the regular ed classroom, removal of the student from the regular ed classroom, and I just don't see that as sufficient means to help include them into the climate. To include them, they must be a part of the classroom rather than removed from. How will that change the impact of education? I think these students will all benefit from this ESL treatment for teachers. If the teachers are educated and they are able to provide a sufficient education for these students, the students will benefit, the teachers will benefit, and even the American English students that don't need any extra treatment or instruction, they'll benefit as well because they'll get to experience that second culture in their own classroom, which is something that I believe is crucial to our development and to our nation's youth development. We need to have a multi-perspective view of society rather than just our own American plain generic perspective. So obviously teachers, students, ESL students, everybody will benefit from this, and test scores, which who can complain about that when we're all being held to such strict standards? How will schools look, or schools or classrooms look or feel differently? I think that they'll be more accepting. I think that that's really all we can ask for right now. I think the school will look the same, obviously, but the feel when you walk in should be much more accepting, and maybe in each classroom, instead of having the ESL teacher take the students out, like I said, they stay in the classroom. So maybe there will be more teacher support in the classroom, maybe more help for the students in the classroom, which can only benefit each and every student, not just the ESL students. So who might disagree or challenge the change? I think that at first, states like West Virginia and very conservative states will disagree with this change. I don't think that they agree that we need to supply our teachers with a better education. I think that they feel it's on the hands of the parents of the children that don't speak English as their native language. So they may have a problem with enforcing the teachers to get further education. However, after we see the results and after we see how easy it is for them to learn English as long as we are effectively trained to do so, the teachers and other states will be very supportive of this change. And like I said, if Massachusetts takes the retail program and really improves the ESL education in Massachusetts, I think that that'll be a stepping stone for the rest of society in America. I think that if they do it correctly and it works really well, there will be less opposition to starting a program similarly. And basically, that's all. That's my educational issue. But I did want to throw in one other thing. I have found several different numbers about ESL students, but so I won't quote any of those numbers. But what I did find on every single one of the sites that I found, upwards of 5 million students being educated in the United States are ESL students, and the number is continuing to grow. So like I said at the beginning of my video, it is a big issue in the United States, and it will only prove to be a greater issue in the coming years. So as a teacher, we need to effectively learn how to educate ourselves and deal with this problem as it continues to grow and be an ever-present part of our classroom. All right, thanks.